Hi Pisces, welcome to your April 2017 Tarot Oracle with a little bit of astrology reading. I'm Mimi with Divination by Mimi. We're going to be doing an elemental spread using the Tahuti or the Thoth deck, and we'll be seeking clarification using the Cartouche, which is based on ancient Kemetic mythos and archetypes. And if need be, we've got runes, two types of runes for further clarification, but pretty much everything's been straightforward. Now, for April, this is a very active month astrologically. So let's start with your ruling planet. Pisces, your ruling planet is Neptune. And you're going to have a bit of a rough day on Monday the 3rd. No, I apologize. Monday the 3rd is going to be a great day because your ruling planet Neptune makes a trine with the moon, which means the mood you'll be in will be an elevated mood. A trine is a very good aspect, 120 degrees. That's going to be right around noon, right around the lunch hour Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. So enjoy that vibe. Let's see what happens with Neptune. You'll be forming an opposition with the moon, which is kind of like a conjunction, not quite as strong as a conjunction, but very strong connection as it is in its opposite on Friday the 7th. Okay, this can make you moody. Now, you tend to be emotionally based anyway. Neptune is a watery emotional sign. You have a co-ruling planet of Jupiter. Jupiter is also going to impact you and everyone as it's going into retrograde, but I'll go into that in a moment. Jupiter, I mean Neptune, what's else happening for you? You form another trine on the 12th with the moon. Again, that'll be in the evening, which is a Wednesday, April the 12th. And this will be a day where you'll be in very high spirits, feeling very good. So take advantage of that vibe. Maybe go out to dinner with friends. You'll be in a very happy space. Let's see. A rough day for you is going to be the 15th on Saturday. There's a square forming with the moon, so you'll be feeling a bit moody that day. And that is in the morning. Saturday in the morning. So, you know, take care of yourself on that day. What else have we got? You'll have a conjunction on the 22nd of April, which is a Saturday. And this happens around 4 in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. So when the moon is conjunct, it just is impacting, it's powerfully impacting, kind of like the opposition did. So the potential really depends, the potential to feel strongly, as the moon tends to be about our emotions and feelings. When it's in conjunction with your ruling planet Neptune, again, that's on the 22nd, Saturday, whatever frame of mind you're in will be amplified. So if you're in a good mood, great. If you're in a bad mood, it's going to be worse. So that's going to be, again, around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the 22nd of April, which is a Saturday. Any other major? No. The 28th might be a rough day for you as well, as you'll be forming a square in the evening. That's a Friday the 28th. A square in the evening with the moon. Again, your emotions might be agitated. You might feel agitated. And I think, oh, and then on Sunday the 30th, you'll have another very high positive day in the evening, around 8:30, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Neptune forms a trine with the moon. That's another very positive aspect, so you should be in high spirits. So that's what's happening to you specifically, in addition to your co-ruler, which is Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is one of 4 planets during this month of April that are going retrograde and have making aspects with other major planets, big planets that are on the outskirts of the natal chart of the sky, slow-moving planets. And these impacts all of these squares that are being formed, these aspects that are being formed are going to really affect all of us, okay? So the first one of mention will affect you too, because Venus has been in retrograde for a while, and she was in Pisces. She's moved to Aries, but on, is it the 4th? Yes, on the 4th, which is a Tuesday of April, Venus will be retrograde back into Pisces. And when she's there, she will form a conjunction with Chiron. Chiron is an astral body that's been stationed in your constellation for a while. And Chiron is is the archetype of the wounded healer. So when planets go retrograde, that means they're revisiting things. They're kind of looking back at things. There's, they're going the wrong direction. Things aren't always clear because we're reanalyzing things, right? So when Venus goes retrograde, we're talking about relationships, love, value, finances, things that we feel strongly about, and we're reconsidering those, okay? When she's conjunct in your zodiac sign with this Chiron character, this means you're revisiting old painful hurts, things that, I don't know, things that somebody may have said to you or done to you, betrayed you, and you're going to feel those again. But go with it, because this is an opportunity to really do some deep spring cleaning. Clean all those old feelings out so that they don't season or color the way that you view the world now. Those are things that have happened in the past. They can't hurt you again. So feel the feelings, examine it rationally, and then let it go, especially if it doesn't serve you anymore. Okay? So particularly as it has to do with hurts, just think about it. Is this really true? Have I amplified this over the last 10 years, 20 years, so that it really makes me think that this is actual fact, when in fact it's something somebody said in passing, which meant nothing and certainly isn't true, but it's been affecting us for the last 20 years, that kind of thing. Another planet that's going retrograde, which is one of the big planets in the outer belt, is Saturn. Saturn is going retrograde on the 2nd and will remain retrograde until the 25th of August of this year. Saturn is retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius and is making a very close connection during this retrograde with the galactic center. So Saturn tends to be about very concrete cornerstones of our known civilization, things that we have always felt and thought to be pillars or cornerstones of civilization. Things like, financial institutions, governments, spiritual or religious institutions. On a collective level, because of this aspect, okay, Saturn in retrograde at that galactic center, we will collectively be revisiting these institutions and reconsidering, determining if these actually still are valid any longer. This is a very big year. But again, as without, so within, as above, so below, the macrocosm to the microcosm. So as we collectively are feeling this, as humanity is collectively feeling this, you individually will be feeling this as well. So it generally manifests itself like, because of my, I'm just going to give you an example, okay? Because of my Catholic upbringing, I have been brought up with an idea that it's not okay for women to have a fully expressed sexual self, okay? Or anybody really for that matter, men or women. It's not okay for me to be a sexual being. That's bad. I've been taught that concept through, again, on the microcosm, through the institution, the religious institution, on the macrocosm. So you can see how it all really affects outer and inner, small to big. It's those kind of things you're going to be revisiting. And you're going to take a look and see, does this really fit anymore? You know, I've been taught that you marry one person, you stick with them for life, and so on and so forth. But is that right? Or is it really more loving and spiritual to embrace polyamory? These are just examples I'm throwing out there. They're certainly not going to be true necessarily to you. But these are the things we are reevaluating collectively and individually. So expect that. Another square that's forming with another retrograde planet, your co-ruler, with Saturn, is Jupiter. So just like we felt those different feelings, you know, with this retrograde due to Saturn about these institutions and these concepts that come from these institutions, as humans, we may have done things and said things very matter-of-factly with full belief in what we said in the last 10 to 15 years that we don't really believe in anymore. They're going to show themselves again. So this is Jupiter in Libra, okay, which is the zodiac sign of relationships, the other, 7th house, forming a square. Again, that's not the best aspect. It's kind of an agitated aspect with Saturn in retrograde at the galactic center in Sagittarius. And what this means is, as it relates to us being truthful in the things that we've said and we've done, you know, something you may have espoused 10 years ago that you felt strongly about then might resurface today. You don't feel about it, and you might have to make apologies for it. So the energy is going to be such that, hey, remember when you said that I don't know, I don't know. You remember when you said that World War II was a hoax, it wasn't real, or whatever? You came up with some concept and you felt very strongly about it. Do you still feel that way? Well, no. And you know what? I'm really sorry that I said that. These are the kind of things that you might be revisiting. So I think what Spirit is urging us in telling us these things is to relax into it, to have humility in the process, and to be willing to apologize. Be brave. Okay? So that, let's see, there's one more retrograde, and this is another big one. That is Mercury. Mercury goes retrograde on the 9th. Hold on. Yes, on the 9th, will remain in retrograde through the 3rd of May. And it starts the month off in Taurus, but right around the 9th, it will go retrograde, and by the 21st, it will be retrograde back. No, 21st. Yes, back into Aries. So Mercury retrograde means things, again, retrograde, going backwards. It's a great time to go back and finish things you've started that need like loose ends tied up. Not a great time to start new projects, okay? Not a great time to commit yourself contractually to anything that will affect you for the next 5 to 10 years. Basically because Mercury, being the hermaphroditic messenger of the gods, logic, communication, speaking back and forth, when when Mercury is in retrograde, not all the facts are on the table. She's not paying attention to what they're saying and they're doing. So contracts, the aspects of the contract may not be obvious during this time. Okay, so things aren't communicated as clearly during this time. So if you can avoid signing your name on the dotted line for marriage, divorce, selling your house, buying a house, starting school, adopting a child, big things, until after the 3rd of May, I would recommend that you do that. Okay. Also, with that said, Mercury in retrograde can make communication difficult, misinterpreted. So be careful before you send emails, particularly when you get around the 21st, when it's gone back into Aries. There may be with all the energies going on, a agitated feeling where you want to just say something very quickly and you can't take it back. So if you can slow down before you speak, think before you speak, double check your emails before you click send, things like that. Just make sure that the ideas that you are portraying are coming across the way you intend them to and not in some other way. Because there's the opportunity for miscommunication, miscommunication is really great right around this time. The only other 2 aspects to tell you about are the full moon in Libra on the 11th and the new moon in Taurus on the 26th. But I'll be uploading videos for those. And I have spent nearly 13 minutes on astrology, so let's get into your reading. Again, we're going to be doing the tarot using the Tahuti or the Thoth deck. This is an elemental spread. It's based on the 4 directions and the 5 elements, including Spirit Akasha. We're going to pull for Akasha for Spirit first. This is the message from Super Consciousness, God, Keter, Amenoser, the highest level. Your high self, whatever you want to call it. What does Pisces need to know? Pisces ruled by Neptune, watery, emotional, sensual, about the collective, very spiritual, very intuitive, very compassionate. What does this compassionate individual collective need to know? What's the message? Spirit says, Princess of Wands. Princesses are like pages in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and they tend to be about messages. You receive the Princess of Fire, Wands, in the upright position. That's Spirit telling you that there's a spirit, because fire tends to be in the name of God. If you follow the Tetragrammaton, that is the Yod. Yod is the first letter of the name of God, and it tends to be the highest of the elements, with the exception, of course, of spirit, of ether. Okay? In the north, which has to do with the earth and practical matters, we have valor, more fire. This is the 7 of Wands in the upright position. Some kind of fight that you're running up against. This tends to be about something that you're holding fast to, but it's a bit of a rough fight. There's some conflicting, contracting, conflicting, agitated energy here. This tends to be about your everyday life, your health, your wealth, your finances, your stuff, and your things. In the East, we have thoughts, and you have the lovers. The lovers, number 6, which is the sixth Sephiroth is the Tifereth, and it usually is about a choice. There's some decision that needs to be made here. You're lingering on a decision. It's a big decision. This is a major arcana card, so this is a very important decision. Try not to make it after the 9th. In the South, for creative projects, we've got change in reverse. That's the 2 of Pentacles in reverse. And then in the West, as it relates to relationships, we have pleasure. That's lovely. The 6 of Cups in the upright. All right, so let's take a look at what Spirit is saying. Spirit is giving you a message, which is not surprising for you, Pisces. You tend to be a very, very spiritual sign. You're the last of the zodiac signs in the natal chart, which tends to be that you are about learning the lessons, about reconnecting or connecting with the source, with what we really all are as one. It's reminding you of your spirituality. It's sending you a message to reconnect with spirit. Something here in practical matters. This is very hot, spicy, fast, agitated energy. This is Mars in Leo. One fiery planet in a very fiery constellation. What you've got are the 3 levels of adepthood for people that are learning, adepts that are learning the magical systems of the Hermetic traditions of the West. And they are 3 different levels. They seem to be crossing, banging up against each other with a bit of energy here. And then there's one wand in the middle. This tends to be you. So the wand in the middle is you, and it looks as though you're up against something. It's as if you're fighting a slightly uphill battle. I feel as though this has something to do with the practicality of some relationship, like a family. There's some decision that needs to be made as it has to do with your everyday, day-to-day practical life. Almost like maybe you're considering a divorce or something. It's like, that's the feeling I'm getting here, is that there, in the home, in your life, your immediate surroundings, you're feeling agitation. There's a fight, and this is you in the middle here, giving the best that you can, standing strong, but it's a very difficult fight. If you see down here in the creative aspect, which is fire, the South, you have change. In the upright, it generally means that you are balancing, all of your resources. But in the reverse, this is telling me that this is getting out of hand, whatever this is. And I believe this is what this decision is that you have on your mind. There's something about your family. If it's not a divorce, it might have to do with another friend or family member or boyfriend or girlfriend or partner. That you need to make a decision on. It's on your mind about making a decision, because this fight at the moment is taking it out of you. It's getting out of control. You're not able to handle whatever this is. It's taken over your life. And Spirit is reminding you of what you are. This is the reminder. This is the message coming through from God's source to tell you your essence is spirit. Anything that's happening here in your mundane world that's butting up against you, your essence being spirit, that's causing chaos, which ultimately, even though this is a good fight and you're hanging in there, right? This is chaos. This is all 3 levels of adepthood up against one, right? And there's impact. It's fiery energy. You're fighting hard, but it's out of control. You've got to make a choice, and it looks like you're ready to make a choice. It's just very clear here. You're going to be either leaving a family or friend environment, possibly a marriage, separating from a child in some way. It feels like over here in relationship, you've got the 6 of Cups, which is pleasure. And this can indicate that you're reminiscing about something, which would not be surprising with Venus in retrograde, particularly as it re-enters your sign. But whatever difficulty you're facing here in your home life, as you're remembering relationships, you know what it's like to feel love. You know what it's like to share in a balanced, healthy way. Give love, receive love. Okay? And it's a pleasure, see? It's a pleasure. It is not this. It is not you fighting. Valor is a wonderful thing to have. But our life should not be a constant fight, and that's what this feels like. So this decision needs to happen because whatever this is, you're not handling anymore. You know this. Remember who you are. Remember the essence of who we all are, but particularly Pisces. You are very spiritual people, very elevated, mutable people. Remember this message from God of what you truly are. This is right. This is what love is. Make that decision. Make the decision that's going to get things back in control, that you can get a handle on things again, because you should not have to live like this. This is not conducive for anyone, but this is definitely not energy that a Pisces should be experiencing in their day-to-day, everyday, morning to night. And this is like a home situation to me. This feels like a domestic life, like family or something. I'm really sorry yours is at 20 minutes, but I think at this point we're pretty clear. You need to make this decision. In fact, if you don't make this decision, it will be made for you. But because you tend to trust your instincts and your intuition, you flow with energy and fluid, watery sign. This needs to happen. You know it, and you will make it happen. Just relax. Spirit's just the best thing to do right now is do whatever you do to spiritually reconnect with your divine self, with the true essence of who you are. If that's prayer, if that's go to mass, if that is meditation, yoga, if you are more into the magical arts, a spell to reconnect, take time with your altar, with your sacred space, but reconnect with yourself, because that will make this decision process much better. This will be much calmer. You'll be returning to what you know is truly a good relationship, and you'll have things back under control. It won't be such a fight all the time. All right, I don't need to clarify anymore. That feels very clear to me. You've got a decision to make, but you know it. And the goods are on the other end, the good stuff. All right, guys. That is a general reading for Pisces. If you'd like something a little bit more specific to a question that you might have, feel free to email me at mememes@hotmail.com. You'll find that email address in the description box below the video. As I said, I'll be uploading a full moon on the 11th in Libra. Full moon in Libra on the 11th. I'll be uploading a video for that, and one for the new moon on the 26th in August, or new moon in Taurus rather. On the 26th of April. Other than that, I will, if I don't hear from you or see your comments or what have you, I will see you again at the beginning of May for May's messages. You take care, Pisces.